Here, our goal is to calculate the area of triangle ABC. Notice that we have triangle ABC highlighted, and our goal is to determine the area of this triangle. In order to do this, we will use this formula, and the formula for one of the formulas for the area of a triangle is the following: a half multiplied by A times B multiplied by sine C. And so here, in order to figure out the area of this triangle, we're going to use this formula, half AB times sine C. And here, we're going to let A equal to 18. So A is 18. B is 22, and so that's 22. And C, the angle C, is going to be 38 degrees. So we have a half multiplied by 18 multiplied by 22 multiplied by sine of 38 degrees. And we say a half, which is 0.5 as a decimal. 1/2 multiplied by 18 multiplied by 22 gives us 198. And so we have 198 times sine of 38 degrees. And 198 times sine of 38 degrees is equal to 121.9009721 centimeters squared. Now, if we were to write this correct to 2 decimal places, notice that this is 0, so we cannot round up. And so we just eliminate these digits here, and we just keep 121.90. And so correct to 2 decimal places, the area of triangle ABC is 121.90 centimeters squared. Next, our goal is to calculate the size of angle DBC, and they want us to give our answer correct to 1 decimal place. Now, which angle are they referring to, right? They want us to figure out the size of this angle in the middle here, angle B. And so they want us to determine, okay, what is the size of this angle, angle B? All right, so this is angle B. We don't know what the size or the measurement of this angle is, but that's what they want us to determine. And so here I already have this triangle already labeled. All right, we call this side C, we call this side B. Now we are trying to figure out what is the size of angle B right here, the same angle right here. And so the side that is opposite to the angle that we're trying to find, we're going to call that A. All right, that's very important. The side that is opposite the angle that we're trying to find, we call that A. All right, so this is small a. So small a is going to be equal to 17 centimeters. And capital A is actually equal to the angle that we're trying to find. So this is capital A, and this is small a. And we call this one B, and we call this one C. And the reason why that's important is because when we're using the cosine rule, so this is a cosine rule for finding an angle, for finding the size of angle A, capital A, where capital A is your missing angle, right? And that's capital A, and small a is the side that is opposite to the missing angle, and B and C are the other sides of the triangle. And so let's substitute. We have that B is equal to 22, we have C is equal to 25, and we have that A is equal to 17. And so we have 22 squared plus 25 squared minus 17 squared. Notice that B is 22, like we have here, and C is 25, like we have here. So let's evaluate, or let's do the computation. So we have 22 squared plus 25 squared minus 17 squared, and that gives us 820. And we have 2 times 22 times 25, which gives us 1,100. So we have cosine of A is equal to 820 divided by 1,100. What we're going to do is we take cosine inverse of both sides. So cosine inverse of this and that. And what that allows us to do is we are able to cancel the cosine inverse with the cosine. And so on the left-hand side, we're just left with the angle A is equal to cosine inverse of 820 divided by 1,100. And cosine inverse of 820 divided by 1,100 is equal to 41.80184419 degrees. But they want to answer correct to 1 decimal place. And if you notice here, this is 0. So we cannot round up and we cannot add 1 to 8. So we just have 41.8 degrees. So that means that the size of angle DBC, right? The size of angle DBC, correct to 1 decimal place, is 41.8 degrees. Next, we need to figure out the shortest distance from C to line BD. So what is the shortest distance from C, right, to this line DB? All right, now the shortest distance is going to be a straight line that is perpendicular to, to the line BD. That's going to be the shortest distance. We're going to draw a line. We're going to draw a line from C to BD, and that line must be perpendicular to the line BD, okay? Now, when we say perpendicular, we mean that a right angle is formed. That's what we mean by perpendicular, right? And so, and that will be the shortest distance. It's going to be a line from C to the line BD, such that the line that is formed from C is perpendicular to this line BD. All right, it forms a right angle. Okay, and so that's what we have here. Now, what we're gonna do is, now we already know that this is 41.8 degrees. And so in order to figure out what is this line, right, the same red line, we're gonna use trig ratios. In fact, we're gonna use one of the trig ratios. But first, let's label, right? So let's label our side. So the side that is opposite the right angle, we call that the hypotenuse, and that is 22 centimeters. The side that is opposite our angle is, we call that the opposite side, all right? And this side right here, that is not the hypotenuse or the opposite, is called the adjacent side. So we have the adjacent side, we have the hypotenuse, and we have the opposite. We are trying to figure out what is the opposite side, but we know what the hypotenuse is. And so we're dealing with the opposite and hypotenuse. And since we're dealing with the opposite and hypotenuse, we have to use the sine trig ratio, right? So we have to use sine of theta, right? That's what, so this is SOHCAHTOA. The S is, so the S is for sine, the C is for cosine, and the T is for tangent. But we're gonna use sine of theta because that involves the opposite and the hypotenuse. And so sine theta, this is the trig ratio that we're gonna use. Sine theta is gonna be equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And what is the opposite? Well, the opposite is not given. That's the side that you have to try to find. So we're gonna call that X. The hypotenuse is given, and the hypotenuse is 22 centimeters. So you have 22 here. Theta, right? Theta is 41.8, correct to 1 decimal point. We put it over 1. We put sine of theta over 1 because we run a cross multiply. And so that's what we do. We say 22 times sine of 41.8. And we say 1 times x. Now 1 times x is simply x. And 22 times sine of 41.8 is just 22 times sine of 41.8. We can switch the way how we have it. So x is equal to 22 times sine of 41.8. And let's evaluate this, right? What is 22 times sine of 41.8? Well, the answer is 14.66371435. And if we were to write this correct to 2 decimal point, or if we were to write our answer correct to 2 decimal places, we'll have 14.66. And the reason is because this 3 right here is less than 5. And once it's less than 5, we cannot round up. So we can't add 1 to 6. So we're going to eliminate these two. I'm sorry, we're going to eliminate all of these digits at the back here, and we keep 14.66. And so that means that the shortest distance from C to line BD is 14.66 centimeters, and that's correct to 2 decimal places. And that's the answer to this question.